Welcome to our first video of our 5th unit of chemistry. This video is talking about the common properties of gases. This whole unit is going to be talking about gases. So we're going to start by describing really what makes gases special, and then also give you an introduction as to basically the main properties of gases, more the common measurements of gases that we'll be discussing in this unit. So when we study gas, we find they've got 3 properties that really make them different from solids and liquids. So, first one is gases have a very low density. Basically, there are fewer gas molecules in 1 liter of a gas compared to 1 liter of that compound as a liquid. So let me give you, or a solid, I'm sorry for that matter. Let me give you a little picture, if you will. So this is supposed to represent a solid. They're very ordered. The particles are supposed to be very close. I just didn't draw too well. But they're basically all together very closely. This is a liquid. Pretty similar to solids, except they're not as orderly. They can move around a bit. They can actually even flow. I'm just not good at drawing movement. This is a gas. And you'll notice there's a lot more empty space. And even more so, let me kind of try and draw a circle real quick. Okay, so if I draw a circle about that size, I get about 14 basically particles in a solid. Now if I draw about that same size in a liquid, I get about 14 particles in a liquid. If I draw a circle of that same size in a gas, I get about 2. That is what we call a low density. In the same space, there are less molecules in a gas than there are in a solid or a liquid. That is one main property that sets gases apart from solids and liquids. Second one is that they're highly compressible. Well, let me bring you back to this picture. Gas molecules have space between them due to their low density. There's tons of this empty space between them. So we can compress them, which basically means turning it into that. So instead of being in that size of a container, it can now fit in a smaller container. That is what we mean by compressible. You can decrease the space between them. You can't do that with solids and liquids. Because remember, solids, you can't really shrink them much. If I actually would have drawn that correct, it's a lot more like that. They're literally all touching. I just didn't draw it too well. But again, gases are compressible. Lastly, gases completely fill a container. Now, their molecules aren't attached to each other. Remember, we got that whole, they're not actually near each other. So they can move quickly and take up more space. Let me give you a picture again. Okay? This is basically meant to be the same size container. Okay? That is meant to be a solid. Let's make it actually touching the ground. This is a liquid. I don't think it's the same amount of dots. I actually kind of stopped counting. Wait. Same amount of dots with a liquid. This, let's pretend this is what the gas starts out as. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so that is what they all, we'll say, start as. Okay, here's the thing. As we let this thing sit for a while, the solid, if we come back in 5 minutes, it's going to look like that. Liquid is going to look like that. Gas, it's going to look like this. For the OCD students, if I got the numbers wrong, I'm sorry. It will actually expand and fill a container because they're always moving. Now liquids, you'll notice, kind of filled a little bit differently than solids. They actually, kind of spread a bit, if you will. But the gases actually will not only spread, but also expand. Their volume will actually increase. So, there you go. All right. Lastly, we're going to be talking about this a lot more in our unit, but I want to start by making sure you know what these are. We're going to be using three main variables to describe gases. We're going to be talking about volume, temperature, pressure, and amount. Volume, typically represented by a V. Temperature is a T, pressure a P, and amount is N. Typically, volume will be in liters or milliliters. Temperature must always be in Kelvin. I will tell you though, they commonly give you in Celsius. Yes, you have to take that to Kelvin. Pressure is commonly in ATM, but we actually have an entire video on that. There are many, many different units of pressure. The most common one though will be ATM. And our common amount will be in moles. Now, one of our objectives for today is to make sure that you know the three factors that affect a gas's pressure. Most of the time you talk about gases, you're caring about their pressure. Well, the three main things that are going to affect our pressure are going to be the temperature the gas is at, the volume the gas is at, and the amount that the gas is at. Typically, the more volume we have, you'll find that there's less pressure. You'll find that as higher temperature, we have higher temperature. And with more higher amount of gas, we have higher pressure. So that says as each of these increase, more so as volume goes up, our pressure will go down. As temperature goes up, pressure goes up. And as amount goes up, I'm going to put in, our pressure will go up. So that, you actually have your first homework assignment, just gets you thinking about that. We'll learn what are called gas laws in a bit, which literally define them. But for now, that's our introduction to gases, and thanks for watching.